Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Time Is Now podcast. My name is Jody Albert Moss, and I'm very excited to introduce my guest on this show, TwinChrist78. We've known each other for quite a while now, and he's a very interesting man. So I'm going to turn it over to him right now.
Yes, Jody, first of all, I just want to say a big thank you for including me in such a great platform that you're putting out there in the universe. I appreciate you including me and inviting me in here, and I say thank you for that.
Very welcome.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been on Earth 67 times. I've had numerous experiences with my life. A lot of it's been supernatural. A lot of it's been through the teachings of my parents. Some of it's been through just the divine spirit that dwells in the middle of my brain. And I met Jody on TikTok, which is a very amazing platform, right? You get lots of great information and you meet great people like Jody, but at the same time, you meet the polar opposites on there, you know? But yeah, Jody, I'd like to share to the universe that there's a lot of people here on Earth that are reincarnated for the first time on Earth. I would say majority of the folk, it's their first experience. As for myself, I come down here to help re-guide the ones that are lost or the ones that want it. And then I just let the universe kind of help me, and I ask upon my guide to guide me for these things, to kind of help me puzzle myself into these people that I need to help find, or myself that I need to be guided with. But it's very important to me to reestablish Christ, Yeshua Christ. Christ is a title. His original teachings when he was on Earth. Well, I believe he's been on Earth multiple times, multiple times. And whether it's many names that you've heard of, from tens of thousands of years ago since he's been here for the first time till to today, which he will have a new name when he comes here on Earth. I believe a lot of the stuff that the Bible teaches, but I believe there's a lot of hidden messages in there. Some of it, the translations are not correct, not to the T, but we have to study things like the deep Hebrew to know its true information. And one thing that I want you guys to know that's very important for me to establish for people out there is that I'm very much a Christian, I guess if that's what you want to call it, a follower of Christ. I am part of the 144K. It's not the number, but it's the true resonance of energy that your Taurus field carries. So that means there's multiple people here on Earth and in past lives that have received the title of Christ. And it's very important for me to teach people what they need to do in their body, their energy levels, their day-to-day struggles. And, you know, as myself, I suffer too. We are here on Earth to be pressed and to change our DNA, literally, like a diamond. It's a great parable that way. But yes, we came from the Elohim, which was many. It wasn't just my image, it was our image, multiple. It was the sons and daughters of gods. Sorry, my phone just went down to that red bar, so I apologize. But yes, I mean, they came down here. It was a long time before they decided to make the human sapien man. Lots of spiritual struggles like we struggled. The Elohim struggle like we struggled. Maybe an older version of a humanoid type struggle, because they're many years of development than we are, because they've been all over the solar system colonizing many worlds. And I'd like to share with you, Jody, that there's sands of the sea of worlds in this vast universe that we all live in. And I want you to know that Christ's message is taught in those multiple worlds, in many realms, all at the same time being taught. Because this message is not unique. It's very powerful, and it's taught all over different worlds in our universe. And right now, what happens here on Earth is that the pole shifts every 10, 13, maybe in 15,000 years. And so what happens is it gets destroyed. So we as humans have never came and evolved. We evolved from the flood. We were always intelligent. We were always super spiritual, but we have certain entities making contracts with others to make it very difficult, which is the hills or the hells of Earth, the lower Taurus field. And we get destroyed and retested and refined. And, that's the Mother Earth. That's the big G God that does this. And then these adversaries will come and, like the Elohim, will come down and help us reestablish Earth. And you'll see that in certain layers of Earth. If we have the archaeologists telling us the great truths of the world. Now, my energy, I believe that I'm a consciousness of God like you are, Jody. And there's many of us that accept this, right? And I believe if you accept it, that's the next level. It's kind of like a degree of initiation spiritually between you and God. And so you come here on Earth to be refined. And as humans, we are being refined all the time. And a lot of people feel like this is a prison. I get it, because it's the reality they created and chose, which is one of the hardest refinement to take a challenge as enlightenment of life. And a lot of people are doing that. And yes, so when like our last destruction was basically the time of Atlantis, which that's the Greek version of the flood, and Greeks explained it as Atlantis as a civilization that was higher than ours. And that's a time where technology surpassed spiritualism. And of course, look what happened. You had waters coming out of the seas, from the skies, tornadoes, mega super tsunamis, and just out for destruction for the big great reset, God's great reset. Now, is that going to happen again? They say so. But I believe it might not in regards to the new dimensional fields that we're going into, the fifth, because right now we're in the fourth. So we'll have to see how that goes, right? But my importance is try to get crisis information put out there as much as possible, taught properly through fast, diet, love, and meditation. So yeah, that's kind of like my mission statement here on Earth. My biography is pretty long, I guess. I mean, my family is probably one of the oldest lines that's been here on Earth. There's many of us this is not a very unique story. There's other people like this. My uncle Brigham Young happens to have a great genealogy, and I can go down a rabbit hole on that. Yes, I believe that right now we are going through we've already been for the 2 years of the 7-year tribulations. And what that means literally is all those fallen angels, that energy of the fallen angels or the Nephilim or the Archon or whatever energy you feel that you believe it is, that's what it is. It's a negative energy. It's satanic energy that is right now possessing certain people that allow this certain energy field into their lives. And a lot of people don't even realize it's happening to them. Everything's so programmed, everything's so designed that way. And I believe that's what we're going through right now on Earth. And what that reflection comes from, or where does that idea come from? Well, that's the Nibiru X planet. That's the Elohim. Well, see, this is the thing. Some people say it's a planet. Some people say it's a big giant starship, twice the size of Earth. But either way, we do know that it returns, and it does affect our energy fields of Earth. And it's like no different than when there's a full moon in the sky. And how everybody acts all weird in a full moon. Go ask any police officer. They'll tell you that when full moons happen, a lot of interesting things happen. Well, that's just the moon, which is also a starship. That's a starship. But the moon is a satellite, and it reflects energy fields from like Saturn. Saturn is a type of energy. When it comes here on Earth, it's extremes to the left, extremes to the right. It's all Saturn worship, Santeria. It's been around way before the Romans. It's been around, I'd say, around the time of Atlantis. This is all pre-flood information. And people know how to manipulate flex time fields, timelines for people, so they're confused. And that's probably where you get certain names like Illuminate. And that's why you have to use certain bio. But anyways, going back to whether it be really good or really bad. It's a sixth planet, 33.3. And that's why that's why you have the hex on top. Throw a hex on you, That all comes from Saturn. All the laws. Let's just say this: Saturn, or L, he is the Milky Way cop of the universe. He is the ultimate judge. And they're all part of this system, this Milky Way system. They have a certain amount of power in these planets, a certain amount of leaf time, which is in the tens of the thousands. And it's all written down that way. And it's, he will retire and move on to something else. And he'll be maybe a child, or maybe Jesus, who knows, which we all believe in the fifth dimension, that 1,000 years of peace. And that's what that means.
Yeah, there's so much going on in the world. And like you, I'm God, Jesus Christ. I went to church. I've given my testimony in front of 200 people that I actually prayed to Jesus and was answered. So that's my basic foundation. And I've spent my life trying to find the true teachings. And you mentioned Yeshua. Can you explain that for some of the people that may not understand that name?
Well, yeah. Yeshua was his original name, pretty common name, known as Joshua today with that big J, because they didn't know how to pronounce the J word, but the Greeks translate Yeshua to Jesus. But you could go about that with a couple of different theories. You got Zeus, who happens to be Anil, who happens to be Jehovah, who happens to be, well, let's see what's the name from Allah. That God, which I used to think he was evil, but honestly, I think he's just kind of like a strict personality type God, like a military type personality. He doesn't cross lines. It's either black or white with him. You know what I mean? I'm a jealous God. That's the God of the Old Testament. And so when you say it in Latin, Jesus, it's Hail Zeus or Jesus. And so, who knows? I mean, that could be a big debate, but all honesty, it's just about the energy of his name and what it really truly means. Salvation. And that's what Yeshua means. It means salvation. And Christ, it just means chosen. He was a chosen one. And I truly believe that there was multiple people like Christ, and that's what Christ wanted. He wanted everyone to be what he knew and understood and believed in, which was definitely Logos, the consciousness of God. He was chosen for that.
And I think that's probably what they really don't want us to understand, because in my opinion, Jesus incarnated here as a physical being, went through certain processes and ascended. So that's got to be kind of squashed, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I feel that, Jesus was here on earth for a big reason. He had a big responsibility to learn more of earth and what we do here. And I believe that he went to different parts of the world, like Tibet and India, even so, right? And learned what they believed. And it seems like you got the 7 seals of all these different religions of earth. And I know that one of the things that Christ was doing is he was trying to find the lost 10 tribes, and he wanted to declare to them the truth and the new law of God. And that's what he was doing in those last years. And a lot of that was done through his uncle, who was very rich and very well known with the Romans, and that was Joseph of Arimathea. And because of that union that they had with, the Roman soldiers, selling him all their tin and metals that are really expensive and really hard to find, so they were well received when they went to these different ports. Of course, Jesus was with them, and I've read that his mom would go too, and he would learn from these great chiefs or governors or whatever they would be at these different ports, and got a lot of knowledge doing that too. And not only that, I mean, he was learning in Egypt all the secrets of Kabbalism, Hermes, all that stuff, long before all the secret societies got a hold of all that information, kept it for themselves. So, I mean, that's one of the things. I ain't trying to destroy anybody. I'm trying to uplift the whole human collective, and that's what's really important to me.
And that's what
I want,
Yeah, I want to raise people up. I want to charge them up and raise the vibration, but share knowledge too, because a lot needs to be shared, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's so much out there. I feel like we got a tiny sliver of what the truth truly is. And I believe that, the little g gogs that created us know that once we figure out what we're doing and why we're here and who we are, I think we'll become much more powerful than they were ever were. But we're too irresponsible here on Earth right now. We're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. But at the same time, it is a path that we're supposed to be going on. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't accept that, but like I said, I do believe that this is a big giant simulation with as real as it can get, created by God, nothing better than God's AI, right? And we're all here on Earth to be enlightened. And what you do, what you choose to do, is a mirror and a reflection of what you receive back. It might not be exactly, but it's going to be a certain spectrum of degree of what you put out in the universe of how you treat people or how you treat yourself or what you think. Because even your thoughts go down in the book of memory forever. And it's interesting how God does it. It's done through water, it's done through the air, and those are why those three trifecta energy fields are very important to us, because it holds everything in them, even in your souls. They call that the Kundalini in other languages.
Yeah. And you mentioned earlier about diet, fasting, taking care of your physical body to help you ascend, raise your vibration, I guess is what you were trying to say.
Yeah. So I mean, one way that you can hear that still small voice. I mean, if you really want to be guided and you really, you want to have that direct source to God, what you put in your mouth and what you partake, everything is vibration. The clothes, like if you put wool on, you put polyester on, they cancel each other. They actually put off vibrations. And it's the same with food. You put certain foods into your system, sometimes it cancels your energy fields to source or God. Now, one of the most powerful ways that you can help anybody or yourself is fast. And that's why you want to clear all that stuff out of your system. And through, that and meditation, and I think also that's very important language, the words you use, the thoughts you use will definitely help you in the process of what you're trying to achieve spiritually. Now, one thing that's not really taught too, when you're meditating, you're fasting, you're eating your proper food, you're doing everything perfect. But one thing you want to do is you want to fine tune your God's eye. And it's kind of a physical thing, but you just basically rub the top of your tongue to the roof of your mouth. It's kind of like dialing a radio for its frequencies. And it's just amazing all the things that will come to enlightenment through your process. You know what I mean? And that's the stuff that, little things like that, like having your feet bare and grounding. And I know you do that. You're a wizard at that.
Yeah, I spend a lot. The simple things, they don't cost anything. Just take your shoes off and go out and walk on the grass.
Yeah,
Make the world a difference.
it's crazy. I mean, I've had people in the office space, and that's what I do. I do sales. I mean, they're having a bad day, and I say, "You got 5 minutes?"
Yeah,
And I will walk outside and I'll talk to them and I'll make them take off their shoes. And it's funny how they get these big grins on their face and they feel 100% better. It's pretty
for
amazing
sure.
what the
I
grounding will do.
gotta go back to this planet, this Nibiru. I'll tell you, I looked at the sun last year. We saw it. Haven't really checked it this year. But if you block out the one sun to the right, there was another round sphere. Now, I'm not going to say it was a sun, but it was being hidden in the glare from our natural sun, I guess, right? And I'm not the only one that has seen this. Would that maybe be the planet Nibiru?
Yeah, it's a good chance that's what it is. There's also a dwarf sun too that we have some, because we're in a dual sun, galaxy here. And what happens is when the veil is overlapped by certain energy fields in the skies, it makes it more visible to our human eyes, and that's why it reveals itself, and then it disappears.
Yeah,
And so
and this
everything is
the veil is thinning. Like
very much.
it's doing it in ways where it's not a solid line. It just like little pockets seem to open up, right? Have you noticed that?
It's a holy veil. It's the holy veil. You got holes, so that when a carpet drops, there's holes in it. And like anybody that's listening to this video, if you really want to talk to this, you ever want to talk to the spirits or the other veil, go ahead, because this is your time. This is your time and opportunity to do that, because you will get answers if you do it. And I've seen people. I've been talking to people that's been having a lot of spiritual experiences and even talking to the dead. So I mean, that's going to be more prevalent as that veil thins and then completely goes away.
Yeah,
Right.
I
And
want
that's
to.
what's going to.
I want to throw something else out to you.
Yeah.
This is just what I think. I want to hear your opinion. There's a difference between what is on the other side of the veil and these extraterrestrials and starships, I believe. I
Oh
think
yeah.
the extraterrestrials and the starships are more in our reality. The veil is like, I don't know, maybe into a different parallel universe kind of thing.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts
Well,
on that?
I just know this: when it's revealed, for a fact, so this is what I'll be checking when I know it's completely removed. You will see new colors that you can't even describe. Once you see those new colors, we have received the veil removal completely. And yes, I do agree with you. Yes, the aliens can go in and out of that veil anytime they want. From what I understand, like a lot of the ones that do come through there, I mean, they move in and out of the sixth dimension to our dimension all the time. And there's a rumor about how Bigfoots feel, like what people feel about Bigfoots. They actually come from a different realm. They keep coming in and out of that. That's why you never find their bones. But I guess they found some not too long ago. They found a full-fledged skull. So I mean, it's all being revealed. The veil is definitely about to drop.
Yeah, and something else, I made a video about this. You may have watched it. You look outside, you see a lot of birds, you see a lot of animals, you see all kinds of nature, but I never see any dead birds or dead animals. Or do they, like this whole, I get carried away with this matrix thing, and are
Yeah.
they actually flying? Are they part of a program that they just disappear? Like, where did they, it's been raining here for the last couple of days. I haven't seen an animal anywhere, and I can't find them in the forest. Where are they?
You know what? I mean, in that regard too, I've seen like drone birds before, simulation birds that get stuck in the sky. And I'll be honest with you, man, all that stuff right there, I haven't really researched that too hard on my end, but I definitely believe that these things are getting stuck in these different veils. You know what I mean? Just like how a spirit has free will, these animals, they have a different frequency than we do. And they probably know how to move in and out of these different veils and go in and out. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that's far-fetched at all, you know. Um, Everything that I thought was nothing that's been created, it has been done. All the technologies that I can think of would be pretty cool to have. It's pretty much been done. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whether it's lost or destroyed or returned. You know what I mean? It's going to be, as much as, and I hate to say this, but as much as evil that you will come across in the next 5 years or whatever, you're going to see good too. So that checkerboard of black and white is definitely amongst us right now.
well, isn't that the reality we live in? It's a positive, negative kind of reality. That's this where we are, right?
Right, that's where we are, and hopefully, when it comes to the fifth dimension, it won't be like that.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but no one really knows because it's Mother Nature's stage. It's all prediction and prophecies right now at that moment. Definitely a new experience for Earth, and there's
Absolutely. You and I talked the other
nothing stopping it.
You and I talked the other day, and I have, experience with dowsing and Earth's energies, and there are certain established grids for longitude, latitude. People have discovered it and researched it, but I've always believed, and with some of the devices like the ones behind me, different energies that we can work with. And I've just
Yeah.
encountered redoing some research, the morphogenic grid system. Have you heard of that?
One more time that word.
Morphogenic. I'm not
No.
sure. It's like a spiritual energy grid, I guess, that intertwines with, what would it be? I better not. Maybe could it be like the Holy Ghost going through everything?
Possibly.
You
Yeah,
know?
because ghost is the spirit of energy of air. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
then that's exactly what it is. Everything that you feel in your air, electricity, lightning, all that comes from, I guess, Enil,
yeah,
Jehovah. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's what inkies the water. You know, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Is there so they're teaching this right now then, or
yeah. This has been around. Yeah, well, Montauk, Long Island. Have you ever heard of the Montauk experiments?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they did some stuff back in the 1950s, I believe. They picked Montauk, Long Island because of the natural Earth's energies, and they opened up doorways in time and all kinds of stuff. So there's 3 books out on that. It's pretty interesting. But so they're actually, well, these portables, like, wasn't there one found in Iraq, a portable travel Stargate thing?
Yeah. I mean, that's the rumor. They're saying that, like, basically that's what Saddam was really doing, and that was like the so-called weapons of mass destruction. Anybody gets kind of like a portal technology that's pretty powerful,
Yeah,
you know. And the true fact about Saddam Hussein is that he really thought that he was Nebuchadnezzar. I mean, he was really redesigning the whole pyramid that he actually had his temple at.
wow.
And the caveat was definitely the oil and all the gold that they took, but definitely all the ancient technology. And at the same time, Gilgamesh slash Nimrod was discovered as a mummy, and super soldiers DNA was all DNA was collected for super soldiers, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And it's easy to find to research upon if you wanted to. I mean, they've been working on that stuff for a long time. I mean, way before that, the Germans were doing that in the 30s and the 40s. We
Yeah.
took everything, we
They,
paperclipped everything.
they say when something comes out, it's been around for 50, 60 years. So, but
Right.
we can't just assume that all this stuff is over the big ocean. It's North America is a hot spot too. There's stuff here. It's just like they're talking about the Grand
Yeah.
Canyon now,
Mm-hmm. Well, see, my opinion, I believe America's was the original Atlantis at the time. I mean, that's why you see so many amazing pyramids. You see so many like landlines that built upon these pyramids. There's one of the biggest pyramids they discovered in the oceans right by Cuba. They say it's a big giant crystal one, 3 times the size of the biggest one in Giza. And a lot of people believe when the ocean's moving and the water is shifting, a certain amount of energy in these airplanes or a boat or whatever it may be, they're disappearing and they're getting lost in these portals, whether they're time portals or taking you a different dispensation of land. That's what people believe is going on, and I definitely believe it. No doubt in my mind. People need to start accepting things that they don't understand, because that's what's going to happen, and it's just going to get more prevalent as the time goes. Everything's being revealed.
It's the big eye opener. In Alberta, Canada, there's a medicine wheel. It's the largest in the world. It predates Stonehenge. But so they're
Yeah.
I think the power of the internet, the power of platforms like TikTok, which you talked about earlier, and I've met so many great people and I've learned so much off TikTok. People look at me and go, "Oh, you're crazy." No, you can speak to that. But these things,
Yeah.
can't suppress it because anybody with a camera can take a picture and put it up on the internet, right?
Yep. I mean, I find that now that our world is so small on this big earth, we're exchanging information, and a lot of it's people's own little testimonies or whatever it may be. But golly, man, TikTok for me was an eye opener, because I learned a lot on TikTok too. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
learned a lot in bullcrap too, but I learned so much, like, from people like you, Jody. I mean, it's just learning how, like, crystals really work and what you're supposed to do and how you charge them and stuff like that. I learned a lot from that stuff. So it's
Yeah.
been nothing but experience, and no wonder, because let me just tell you this. I mean, every single social media takes your personal information. They all do. You know what I mean? And TikTok's doing the same things. Facebook's doing the same thing. I mean, yeah. So I mean, I believe they want to shut us down because of the information that we're exchanging with each other. And we're becoming very knowledgeable, but definitely use your discernment at the same time.
Yeah, I do my discernment because, and I tell people,
Oh,
I know some people that are they're just going to tell you just because they think they can. Well, you can't help people if you're shut down, right?
right,
So
right.
that's the key. But I wanted to mention to you, do you know about the Great Lakes?
I need to know more, but I do hear about, like, remember you were just saying about that, what was it? It predates the
Oh, that was the medicine wheel. But with the Great Lakes up here, um, we have what's called the Great Lakes Triangle, and more
Yeah,
ships and planes have gone down in the Great Lakes than the Bermuda Triangle.
that's
So
great.
I
I've heard it.
think,
I know the great how severe that you're saying, but yeah, I believe it. Again, like when you have water and energy at the same time, interesting things happen. Water is one of the most powerful. It is the most powerful element here on Earth. And God, when that stuff happens, I believe it. I totally
well,
believe it.
they find crystals in limestone, There's
Really
a lot of limestone around the Great Lakes.
interesting.
Yeah, so it could be supercharged, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's insulating something too at the same time.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, of course, was that a big ocean at once upon a time too, or
Yeah, I think a lot of part of Canada was under the ocean at one time.
right,
But I'm
right?
just going by traditional history, right? And I don't even know if that's right anymore.
Well, I mean, I know the Vikings were down there too. I mean, way before Columbus.
There's
You
stories
know.
about the Knights Templar coming in and way before anybody else, Oak Island. I could talk hours about this stuff that I've done my own personal research and I've actually gone and talked to these people. So I know it's true, right? So
Oh yeah, I do. I agree.
the Templars came right up the St. Lawrence Seaway, right into the area where I live. There's a whole, and this is well documented. There's books now. So
Yeah, yeah, I know, and that's one thing that I find more exciting. You're just starting to realize that even the Egyptians came, I guess, in Colorado. I mean, in there they found all kinds of statues, like someone left and hid or whatever. They had their armies there and everything. But a lot of people say that they were established there way before Egypt, and that's where that concept of possibly Atlantis was here. You know what I mean? But I think Atlantis was more on the ocean, on the edge. But now the whole United States would probably be more like New Atlantis. You know what I'm saying? Because we had great technologies, but it wasn't all over the earth. It was just certain areas.
yeah. Well, I think there's a lot more going to be coming to light as we move forward. Um,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting times for all of us. Hopefully, a breath of fresh air. A lot of people out there are struggling, but I just know that if you want to, if you can find the ways in your heart to put out that love, magical things can happen in these tough times, and that's the only way you'll get out of this crazy world we're living. It's the
Yeah.
only way.
You got to stay positive. And I know it sounds, listen to him. He's saying stay positive. Trust me, I got my own trials and tribulations, and I've been through stuff and going through stuff. And my wife says, you can't be like that. Well, I guess my wife's saving me. You got to be positive. You got to be happy. And now they're making connections that who was I talking to this about? Was I talking to you about the heart being the second brain?
No, but that's a fact right there. It
Yeah.
has yeah. Even your stomach, in a sense, too. It's crazy how that all works, and you got to take care of that heart. The heart, like one thing about the heart, though, too, people don't realize if you say to it, "Oh, I suck," it believes it. I don't love myself. It believes it, and you feel the pain go down your stomach. You don't want to ever. You always want to promote nothing but truth to your heart, and that's what's interesting about that.
Yeah. I just saw a video on this the other day, and they were saying like if you are suffering from trauma and you
Mm-hmm.
clear it in your mind, if you don't clear it in your heart, you only got rid of half of it. So they're
Yeah.
making all these connections, that are, and really there's a meditation that I do. I forget what it's called, but all you do is visualize light in your heart because they say if you work with your heart, that affects everything around you, right? The frequency
Yeah.
of love.
Yeah. I mean, they basically say that your heart can reach around all Earth if you go to the gym with your. I'm talking about spiritual meditation. That's what I mean by the gym. You have spiritual gym, you got the actual gym, but spiritual gym is definitely you can actually protrude the heart energy through the whole Earth, and that's why people want to meditate in all one single core of a group of people because how powerful it just climbs. Like trees. Trees do the same thing. Trees are all connected, and we as humans are all connected. So if we just had 7.8% of everybody on Earth just to do it all at the same time, we would bust through the lower vibrations like you want to believe. Bust right through it. But it hasn't completely, it's gotten close. It's getting closer, but we haven't quite.
Yeah, I believe it's getting closer, and I believe in. I don't believe that. I think I see light in the future, love in the future, and I see us pulling ourselves out of this.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, I believe, well, I know that everything's designed to go to God's plan, and God already won. And it's like a big giant biological clock just ticking and talking. You're seeing all the extremes of everything right now, and God will win at this end of this outcome. And this adventure will be forever. That's what's interesting about this. this adventure in life or the spiritual energy experience will go on forever. And that's what people need to realize. This isn't just it. This isn't just it. Multiple, everlasting. Can you think of forever? So that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, uh, that's a good topic, actually. The way I think of things, it's just
That you
one big
thought.
openness, right? And we
What's
just
that?
keep touching back, just one big openness of mind or whatever. And like you mentioned, you've been here, what, 67 times?
On Earth.
So it does keep going. Jesus even, well, Yeshua even believed in reincarnation.
You did. Well, in the Torah, they talk about 613 commandments that you have to keep. And if you don't keep them, you just reincarnate again and try it again. And that's why it starts to become hell on earth, because you keep reincarnating on earth. Can't pass the test, can't keep the commandments. And that's, of course, that's the Torah belief, but God's chosen people, of course, but you have to realize, we go through the same course too. We all reincarnate. Now it's up to you. You have free will. You can pass away and stay in that veil and never go to the other side and just, I don't know, haunt your graveyard as long as you want. And that's what's interesting about the free will. You can decide if you want to go back on earth. You don't have to. But sometimes you might have made a contract with God, like, hey, do this 10 times. You never know. The refinement's interesting. It's very interesting. And this is a topic that I could talk about all day.
I find this very interesting, but we're coming up on our time.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any last words that you want to get out to the people? And I'm definitely going to get you back on. We're going to book a session after we get off here, probably.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I want you guys to know that there's many people like myself, and you'll see more of us come out like Jody and myself. And one thing that you have to realize, that you're going to go through a lot of trials in life, and you're going to feel like this is it. This is nothing I can do. I don't want to do it. Hang in there, because everything that you do in life, there's always that other happiness. And let me tell you this: Christ will come back. Not only is it part of the Bible, meaning like your sexual alchemy. Yes, that's very true. But Christ did come here on earth, and he will return. Matter of fact, I believe he's already here on earth, in my opinion. You know what I mean? But hey, I think everybody should be at peace with themselves and just find their happiness in these times of hell. And that's just my opinion. So more to come, though, for sure. Right, Jody?
Excellent. Thank you. I agree totally.
Yes, we're just getting started here, me and Jody. And yeah, I'm excited. It'd be my honor to come back on here with you.
Wonderful. So. This has been the Time Is Now podcast. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I can just feel the energy from this connection. I thank you very much for being on my show. Look forward to the next one.
I appreciate you, Jody. I mean, you're one of the nicest people. Your energy level is 144K to me, man. So I really appreciate you, and keep up the good work. And yes, it'll be my honor. Give me a subject and we can go over it. And one of the things I'm just trying to accomplish in life is just getting out the truths, and I'm learning myself too. So
okay, wonderful. Thank you, everyone, and look forward to the next show.